When you start living for you and not for other people, everything changes. Some of you guys right now, you're living a life that somebody else wants you to live. You're not living life on your terms. You're following a roadmap designed for you by somebody else. Maybe you chose a degree that your parents wanted you to study, that you had zero interest in. So now you're studying something that you don't really like, and you're going to end up in a career that won't bring you fulfillment because you are too afraid of going against your parents. It could be society as a whole conditioning you to follow the status quo, to be a good worker, to not get into any trouble, to always make sure that you do your job properly and you go home and you participate at work events and you be a good little boy. And don't you dare do something on the side. We don't want that. Some of you guys have betrayed your dreams for the sake of following what is safe, what is familiar. You're afraid of causing controversy. You're scared of the criticism that may come from friends, from colleagues, from family. So you live a life for other people. You bury the dreams that you had as an 8-year-old boy because you don't want to upset anybody. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want people to look at you funny. I get that one all the time. Ali, I just don't want people to look at me and think, oh my God, this guy's cringe. Oh my God, this. Let me tell you something, gents. When you dare to go against the status quo, when you decide to pursue your dreams, regardless of how silly they may be to other people, you're going to get some pushback naturally. If you go against the herd, you're going to get looked at funny. You are. That is just the reality of the matter. Every successful person today that dared to dream, dared to create, was looked at like they were delusional and insane. What makes you think you can do this? When the car was invented, people prior to the car being invented were saying, the horse is good enough. Don't know what you're fiddling around with thinking you can create some sort of machine. We've been riding horses for centuries. Same when it comes to flying. If we were meant to fly, we would have wings, people used to say. Just think about, just aviation as an invention still blows my mind. Hundreds, thousands of tons in the air, carrying people safely whilst they watch their favorite Hollywood movie and eat some popcorn. Crazy, right? Someone had to be crazy enough in the beginning to say, you know what? One day we're going to transport human beings across oceans in the air. 30,000 feet in the air. We're going to do this. Now, to bring it down a level here, you guys are afraid, some of you, of starting a TikTok profile because your friend Steve from work might laugh at you when you come into the office. Some of you guys want to open a cafe, but your uncle has told you several times that it's a stupid idea and that you should get a real job and forget this business thing. And look, you got to remember that most of the people that give you advice not to do something are people that have either been burnt from an experience in the past or people that are intimidated by you potentially pulling this off and for them to somehow feel left behind. That's how they really carry themselves, that they're worried that you may outperform them and as a result leave them in the past. And they don't like the idea of that. They want to keep you roughly at the same sort of level as them because it makes them feel better, because they're lazy and a lot of them are cowards and they don't want to go out there and get hurt and get rejected and have to go again. So because they don't want to do the work, because they don't want to pay the price, they try and talk you out of doing it. that makes them feel better about themselves. It's like people that are miserable right now. They're single and miserable. They will try and talk their friends, guys and girls, by the way. Believe me, some guys do this as well. Oh, bro, you don't need her, bro. Misery loves company. There are women out there that will get in the middle between her female friend and her partner. She will say things like, oh, you'll take that. What? I wouldn't take that personally if I was you. I wouldn't. Misery loves company. People that hate their lives will try and bring other people down into their misery so they don't suffer alone. So be careful. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you take advice from. Be very careful. You wouldn't allow somebody to park on your front lawn with their car, right? Any random stranger. So don't allow any person to dump bullshit into your brain. Negativity, pessimism. Look, sometimes they may have very valid points. They may say, well, the market, this, and they may present some good points. But to not try, because the statistics show, the data shows, for you to be a little coward and not even try is the ultimate tragedy. You got to try. Even with the odds being against you, give it a go. If you follow the data, you'll never do anything in your life. You won't. You'll be scared. Well, the risk. What if I lose? What if the interest rates go up? You'll never do anything with your life. You'll be sat on the sidelines, biting your nails in absolute terror. While someone else out there's like, well, I know it could be challenging. I know I might lose all my money. But this is a dream that I really, really want to see come into fruition. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go and do this. And even if they don't get it, they respect themselves as a result of their action. You increase self-respect. You increase your self-esteem. And now you're a more interesting person. You've done something that most people have never done. And you have a story to talk about. You're more interesting. You're not just some coward who sits on the sidelines advising people not to do stuff to make himself feel better, right? You're somebody that's gone out there and done things. It's the process of trying. It's the hunt. It's not getting the end result. That's not the most important thing in life. It's doing. It's going out there. It's hunting. The moment you take the hunt away from a man, he just becomes a shadow of his former self. He loses the spark in his eyes. We need to hunt. We need to go out there and do things. We need to go out there and feel like we're working hard towards something. If we don't, we end up feeling down, depressed, useless. That's a good word to use. You know, as men, we want to feel useful to our family, to our organization, to wider society. We want to feel like we're contributing. If we feel like we're doing nothing, we're just occupying space, eating, shitting, breathing, then we start to feel down. So look, if there's something that you know you want to do, you go out there and do it, regardless of what other people may say, regardless of what your Uncle Jeff may say, regardless of what your parents may say. Look, as long as what you're doing is moral, legal, and ethical, absolutely go for it. As long as you're not harming anybody. I know it's hard sometimes to say to your parents, I don't want to do this. I love you guys, but I don't want to pursue a career in dentistry. Even if they get really upset and angry at you in the short term, they'll understand it. It's your life. They can't control what you do. You can absolutely be respectful and take on board the advice they give you. But you are more than entitled to say, listen, I love you both, but this is the direction I want to go in life. I really believe in myself. I know I can achieve great things. And I'm going to go out there and prove it to myself and show you guys that, I can be a success in an alternative field, in a field that you don't particularly, see much potential in. Because parents, they give you advice based on what they know, right? especially if your parents are both academics, they went to university. That's what's familiar to them. You know, they didn't grow up in an age of the internet, the digital revolution, the AI revolution. They grew up in a world where if you needed to do well, or if you want to do well, sorry, you gotta get a degree. You gotta get a piece of paper, frame it on the wall, and with that piece of paper, hope to get a really good paying job. That was pretty much the best way back then to start making money. You know, in the short term, right? But now the game's changed. Now you can sell on TikTok Shop. You can do drop shipping. You can trade from home. I mean, the potential is huge. So there's no one way to do or one way to win. I've always said this. There's a million ways to make $1 million. Don't trap yourself into a box and think, oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm doomed. No. You're not doomed. There's many different avenues you can go down. Now, don't be chasing 7 rabbits at the same time, right? Don't distract yourself. Master one craft. Tell yourself, I'm going to lock in on this. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. I'm going to invest in the courses. I'm going to buy the books. I'm going to attend the seminars. I'm going to do everything in my power to become an expert in this field. And genuinely do that. Go out there and do that. It may take 7 years, but if you're 19 watching this, if you're 21 watching this, time is on your side. And even if you're 30 and you're thinking of a career change, you're still young. As long as you're above ground and you're breathing, you can absolutely make a change in your life. It's crazy how many 30-year-olds feel like that's it, life's finished. You know what, I'm old now. I should have done this when I was 20. You're 30. You're still so damn young. You've still got potentially, if God gives you a long life, you've still potentially got 3 or 4 decades of time to be doing something that brings you fulfillment. You don't have to just wave the white flag and say, well, fuck it. I guess I'm just destined to be in this soul-draining office job or in this factory working for somebody else as a number. You know, you can see it in a man's eyes when they've given up. It's really a sad thing. They lose the spark. They just become zombies that engage in the movements every day. They wake up, drive to work, they clock in, they do what they got to do, they come back, they sit on the couch, watch some TV, maybe order some Domino's pizza, sleep with the remote still on their belly, and then they repeat the same thing the next day. And it's sad. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to be in an environment that you dislike for years and years and years and years. Look, sometimes we got to do things to make a bit of money, even if the job isn't a sexy job. Look, as long as what you're doing is honest work, there's absolutely no shame in doing it. You shouldn't feel embarrassed. Okay? Make your money, honestly. As long as nobody's being harmed in the process, that's a good job. Make the money you got to make, and then you can start to evaluate your options from there. You don't have to stay somewhere for many, many years because you don't feel like there's better out there. No, there absolutely is better out there. You've just got to believe that you deserve better. It all starts with the relationship you have with yourself. If you feel like you deserve more out of life, then you will become more in order to attract those opportunities. Remember, success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming an attractive person. But you got to believe you're worthy of those opportunities. You're worthy of that high-paying job. You're worthy of that partner that you desire. If you don't feel like you're worthy, you're not going to attract those opportunities. People won't gravitate towards you. Companies, women won't gravitate towards you because you see yourself as a loser who doesn't deserve anything nice in life. Okay, so it all starts with the relationship you have with you. Develop that. Thanks for watching, gents. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, comment. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.